Okay. I welcome all the participants and all the honorable guests and speakers, eminent speakers, to the second session of this two-day international conference on new trends in chemical research. I hope the participants, most of the participants have joined. Only 30 participants are with us. Most of them will be joining shortly. And the speakers for the next session are Dr. Manish Kumar, who is DST Inspire faculty in NABI Mohali, Dr. Vijay Gupta, who is currently in Warsaw University, Poland, Dr. Vineet, who is in the Department of Nano Convergence Engineering, Jeonbuk National University in Korea, and the various talks will be presided over by Honorable Dr. Kiran Singh, Dr. Sunil Dhal, Dr. Ramesh Ghantas. I hope the first speaker on list, Dr. Manish Kumar, and the Honorable Chairperson for this talk, Dr. Kiran Singh, are with us. Have you joined?
Yes, Dr. Deepa, I'm here.
Okay. Dr. Kiran Singh, are you there?
Okay, madam, I'm also here.
Okay. So I take this privilege to introduce the entire audience with Dr. Kiran Singh, who is professor in the Department of Chemistry in Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. She has guided over 7 PhD students and various MPhil and PhDs she has guided. She has completed 2 major research projects: design, synthesis, and characterization of metal chelates derived from bioactive multidentate ligands, and synthesis, characterization, and biological studies of organometallic chelates derived from multidentate ligands. She has done profound work in popularization of science. Also, she has delivered various invited lectures. She has delivered lectures and presented research work in various conferences and has evaluated many theses and conducted many PhD viva also. And she is an acclaimed reviewer of many research articles. She has been bestowed with Professor Kaza Samashekara Rao Award for the Best Woman Scientist in Chemistry in 36th Annual National Conference of Indian Council of Chemists that was held in Visakhapatnam. And obviously, being a very senior professor, she has been a member of many administrative and scientific body societies. She is member of Departmental Research Committee in the Kurukshetra University. She is coordinator of National Conference on Global Challenges. She is life member of Indian Science Congress Association. She is a counselor of Youth Red Cross Society, Kurukshetra University, and has been convener of many projects. So I welcome you, ma'am, to chair over the next talk, please. And we feel privileged to have you with us. And I hand over the session to you now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Deepa, for a nice introduction and nice words about me. I don't know whether I deserve for it or not, but thank you very much.
Obviously, you don't.
And special thanks to Gulab Singh, convener of this international conference, who provided me this opportunity to be with you this international conference. And I got this opportunity to introduce a very dynamic and young scientist, Dr. Manish Kumar. Dr. Manish Kumar is presently working as Inspire faculty at National Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute, Mohali, India. He has MTech degree with gold medalist in nanoscience and nanotechnology. He completed his PhD engineering from CSIR CSIO, Chandigarh, India, on the development of advanced materials-based sensors for food adulterants and disease diagnosis. It is a very good topic. After completion of his PhD degree, he moved for postdoctorate to Hanyang University, South Korea. His postdoctoral research was mainly focused on the development of advanced nanomaterials for sensing, absorption, and catalytic applications. And presently, His research work, including the development of nanosensing platforms, synthesis of advanced nanostructures, and analytical applications of nanomaterials. He has published more than 80 research publications in very young stage, and no doubt he is a very dynamic scientist. He has some, or he availed some research grants from DST, CSIR, and SERB. He is also awarded with several prestigious awards, including Outstanding Scientist Award, SERB, ECR Award, and Inspire Faculty Award. Really, it is a very prestigious time for we all. The such scientist is with us. So, today's talk title of the scientist, Dr. Manish Kumar, is Molybdenum based metal organic frameworks for the development of ultra sensitive and specific sensor for arsenic ions. And with these words, now I invite Dr. Manish Kumar to present his talk.
Thank you very much, Dr. Professor Singh, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. So,
Hello.
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 Yes, you are audible.
Yes,
Now
yes.
you can start.
Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, your screen is
Okay.
also visible.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and inviting me here to present my research work. So here at Nabi Mohali, we are working on the sensing development of sensors for food contaminants and adulterants. Till now we have developed a number of sensors for pesticides, heavy metal ions, and tested those sensors on a variety of food products like juices, rice extract, and some other consumable things. So we have worked here on several nanomaterials and advanced materials like gold nanoparticles, silver nanoparticles, graphene, polyaniline, MOF. Out of all those works, here I'm presenting my recent work on molybdenum-based MOF for the development of ultra-sensitive and specific sensor for arsenic ions. I think in previous talks from Dr. Kataria and Dr. Bridge, it was quite clear that there is an urgent need of development of economic and ultra-sensitive sensors for several food contaminants and adulterants, as well as for uh, pollutants around us in food products as well as in water. So keeping this need in mind, we recently developed a MOF-based sensor for arsenic ions. So first of all, let's talk about the problems with arsenic and arsenic contamination. As we know, arsenic is one of the most toxic contaminants. It comes under the category of metalloids. And in India, from 10 districts, from 10 states, around 80 districts are facing high arsenic contamination levels. As per the US EPA agency, it was announced that around 50 ppb is the allowable limit for arsenic in drinking water. And after seeing the ill effects of high arsenic levels, this limit was further reduced to 10 ppb in 2001. So in those states, in 86 districts, the level of arsenic is very high in groundwater as well as in the crops grown in those areas, and fruits grown in those areas. And from Haryana, I think Ambala and one more district comes into this category. So what was the consequences of arsenic contamination? First of all, the arsenic can be exposed, the human can be exposed to arsenic through direct inhalation, dermal absorption, ingestion, and ingestion of arsenic containing foods, water, and exposure of soil, arsenic containing soil. So what are the consequences of arsenic exposure in humans? First of all, arsenicosis. As you see the picture in the right, this one, this is the disease named arsenicosis, which developed due to exposure of high content of arsenic, regular exposure of arsenic. Apart from that, there are several dangerous diseases which can occur due to exposure of arsenic, like cardiovascular and peripheral vascular diseases, diabetes, and several forms of cancers like skin, lung cancer, and bladder cancer. And even it can also alter the genetic structure of our chromosomes or genes. It can cause genetic alteration into human beings. So after seeing all these consequences of arsenic, our main aim was to develop a sensor for arsenic. So there is only two ways to avoid arsenic, to avoid the consumption of arsenic containing products. First one is to remove the arsenic from those products, and second one is to sense the presence of arsenic in those products and avoid consumption of those products. Or then further, we can treat those like drinking water to remove arsenic from it. So we opted second approach, in which we wanted to fabricate a sensor for arsenic. So the main aim for fabrication of sensor was it should be simple to operate, minimum procedural step consisting of minimum procedural steps, and it should be sensitive, and a common man can also use this sensor. And apart from all these benefits, it should be economical to be used by a common man. So these are a few methods by which molybdenum can be detected. There are few conventional methods and few advanced methods. The most conventional and kind of good method for arsenic sensing is molybdenum blue test. In this test, molybdenum based compound is used to detect arsenic. There is well-known chemistry between molybdenum and arsenic. Molybdenum form a compound with arsenic which shows a blue color. That's why its name is molybdenum blue test. So what is the problems with this test? First test is its sensitivity. Its sensitivity is not meeting the current criteria of arsenic, allowable limit of arsenic. That's why this is its major limitation. After that, its sensitivity is not very high. It is having very low sensitivity, and an operational temperature of 80 degrees Celsius is required to conduct this test. Third problem with this test is we should have a spectroscopic expert and spectroscopic instrument to measure the signal outcome from this test. And another issue with this test is its lengthy time. You need to spend around 2 to 3 hours to get final results or final outcomes from this molybdenum blue test. Apart from that, there are several advanced technologies like atomic absorption spectroscopy, as shown by Dr. Kataria, that we have several advanced technologies like atomic absorption spectroscopy, ICP-MS, and these all are gold standard. No doubt, if you have something like metallic content or heavy metal content or metalloid content in your products, you can opt for AAS as a gold standard. But what is the problem with these techniques? First problem is it's lengthy and complicated protocols. This is not feasible for a common man to conduct an experiment with or to analysis with the AAS and ICP-MS. A huge machinery is required, which is which costs a few crores uh, for, for conducting an analysis by AAS and ICP-MS. And third one is a skilled operator is required to perform the analysis via AAS. And after investing a crores into a machinery, so anyone can expect the pricing of the analysis. it comes a few thousands of rupees for a single analysis. So after seeing all these problems with advanced technologies and conventional methods, the main aim of my team was to develop a sensor which can detect arsenic and save our people from exposure of arsenic. So basis on the specific interaction between molybdenum and arsenic, we designed an MOF which consisted of molybdenum and cobalt and specific for the sensing of arsenic. So the question now arises, why MOF? MOF is metal organic frameworks. It is having uh, it is composed of two types of things, like one metal nodes and second is organic linker, and it is having porous structure. A number of active sites are present on the surface of MOF. So depending upon the number of active sites, the sensitivity can be enhanced for the sensing of arsenic or any other analyte. So we can design MOS of variety of structural diversity and flexibility. It is having large surface area and unique adsorption affinities for a number of analyte molecules. So based on all these benefits of MOF, we also designed an MOF, which is actually we developed a series of MOF using molybdenum MOF, using molybdenum as metal center, bipyridine as organic linker, and likewise we also explored several other organic linkers and metals in addition to molybdenum. And finally, after synthesis of series of MOS, we found that molybdenum and cobalt, combination of molybdenum and cobalt in the form of MOF gives rise to highly sensitive and specific sensor for the arsenic detection. So this is a basic scheme of the sensing material and the sensors we developed for arsenic. The sensor is highly specific, sensitive, and selective for arsenic, and we can detect a huge range from 0.05 ppb to 1000 ppm of arsenic using this material. And within 15 minutes, we actually got the final results within 10 minutes, but for the safety purpose or for so that we can't get false positive results or false negative results, we gave time of 15 minutes to this sensor to check the arsenic content in the diverse food products and water, groundwater. So this sensor is, we tested this sensor on a variety of products like water, groundwater, lake water, pond water, fruits, and cereal samples. So after synthesis of this MOF, we characterize this MOF with several techniques to identify its structure and successful synthesis. First one, A, is the UV visible spectra of the synthesized MOF, which is showing absorption peak at 260 nanometer, which is characterized for this particular MOF. And further, in case of FTIR, on the right table, the peak specific for different functional groups are added into a tabular form. So after analyzing the material with FTIR, we found that it is having bipyridine linker and OH groups and molybdenum conjugated with oxygen groups. Likewise, we also done XRD of this material and found that the material is composed of molybdenum, cobalt, and bipyridine. Finally, we conducted an TEM analysis, transmission electron microscopic analysis, microscopic image, for the synthesized MOF, and it found that it is having around 3 to 7 micrometer of length and 420 to 650 nanometer of diameter or width. So after that, we are not aware of that how much cobalt and molybdenum, what is the ratio of cobalt and molybdenum it is having. Then we conducted an elemental mapping of the product and found that there is 1:2 ratio of the cobalt and molybdenum is present in this MOF, and this is A is the same image of the same MOF, and B is the cobalt mapping, and C is molybdenum mapping. After analyzing this mapping, the software gave us 35% of this MOF is having 35% of cobalt and 65% of molybdenum into the structures in terms of metallic contents, or in terms of combined metallic content of cobalt and molybdenum. So this is after that we also confirm this presence of 1:2 ratio with structural analysis. So
Dr. Manish, Dr.
Yes,
Dr.
yes,
Manish,
yes.
I'm sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe it was just me. I was only seeing your title slide. Now it is okay.
Oh,
So you can continue. Now it is okay. I can see your slides now.
now is it visible to everyone, or
Maybe it was just me. I don't know.
no?
But now it is okay.
Okay, now is it moving or not?
Uh, are you moving the slides?
Yeah, I am moving the slides.
Yeah, there is some problem. But there was some problem. Slides were not moving. Only one slide which was visible. Now
Okay,
it is
okay,
moving. Okay, now you can go ahead. Okay, thank you.
okay. I'm not making it onto full screen. I think there is some problem when I put these slides on full screen. Is it moving now, or wait a minute? Is it moving, or?
Yes,
yeah,
now it is.
Okay. So there might be some problem with screen sharing. Should I try again for screen sharing, or is it okay in the current form?
It's okay.
Now it is moving, sir. It's okay. You can carry on, sir.
So I will carry on without making it full screen. So after getting this composition of 1:2, we gone for simulation studies. We tested our XRD spectra with the simulated XRD spectra of MF of same composition, and we found similar peaks for simulated XRD of the same MOF. And further in structural analysis, it was quite clear that the ratio of cobalt to molybdenum is 1:2, as you can see in this structure, and this also. The ratio of cobalt and molybdenum is 1:2, which is consistent with the elemental analysis of the material. So after that, we use this material for the sensing of MOF, and as you see on the right side, this vials is having the MOF, and it is showing signals only in presence of arsenic. Apart from arsenic, there is no change in the color of MOF. What is actually what actually happened after addition of arsenic into MOF? The color of MOF was changed from purple to blue due to formation of molybdenum arsenic complex, heteropolyate complex. And with increasing concentration of arsenic, the color of the blue color, the intensity of blue color increased gradually with increasing concentration of arsenic. So we also observed another phenomena. After addition of arsenic into this MOF, the peak at 260 was decreased with increasing concentration of arsenic. As you see, at 0 ppb, it was around 1. At 10 ppb, it was around 0.2 absorbance. So we made a linear curve of these absorbance and found that it is linear with increasing concentration of arsenic. And when we added, spiked the real samples like groundwater or pulp juice or plum juice and rice extract with the known amount of arsenic, it is giving exactly same amount of arsenic with which we spiked that sample. So accordingly, we also checked these samples with ICP-MS, the presence of arsenic, amount of arsenic in those samples, and it was we got around 97 to 103% recovery of arsenic with our sensor. So after that, we developed a paper sensor using this material. We soaked a paper, Wattman paper or simple filter paper, cellulose paper, with this material, and these are the sensor strips. This only around 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, or even less than this. was used for fabrication of this sensor. And we soaked around 1 mg per ml of MOF onto this strip, and this is again of purple color. After addition of arsenic, the color of this strip was also changed from purple to blue. So again, we have instrument named as color flex. We checked the intensity of purple color with that instrument, and we found that the intensity of purple color was changed uh, linearly with increasing concentration of arsenic. Likewise, we also have an other mobile application with the name ImageJ. So ImageJ can also be used to quantify the color signals from these paper strips. So interestingly, after measuring the signals from the developed material, we found that our sensor is having a high sensitivity with LOD of limit of detection of 0.02 ppb for spectroscopic sensor and 0.04 ppb for paper-based sensor. So likewise, we have recovered around 97 to 104% in from groundwater. And I have to mention here, when we took
Thank you,
groundwater,
sir.
it was having around 1.1 ppb of arsenic,
अच्छा,
already
और
having
क्योंकि
1
वो
point.
चेयर कोई और कर रहा है ना बीच में, मेरा बोलना वैसे तो बदतमीजी है सर।
Is there any problem, ma'am?
हाँ जी,
You are saying something. Is there
जिसके
any?
पास व्हाट्सएप नंबर हो ना, जिनके फ्रेंड हो, उनसे व्हाट्सएप करवा दीजिए सर।
Anyways, the groundwater was already having 1.1 ppb of arsenic. Likewise, rice extract was already having 0.08 ppb of arsenic, and plum juice was already having 0.3 ppb of arsenic, which was excellently sensed by our sensor. Then we further spiked those samples with non-concentration of arsenic ions, and those signals were again consistent with ICP-MS. As I mentioned earlier, ICP-MS is gold standard for measuring the levels of these contaminants in diverse samples. So what was the sensing mechanism? As shown in this purple colored image, this is MOF. I'm not including cobalt here because the interaction is specifically due to between the molybdenum and arsenic. So, but cobalt is playing a good role of catalyst. Due to catalytic properties of cobalt, molybdenum readily interact with the arsenic to form this heteropolyc compound, arsenic molybdenum oxygen compound, which actually after formation of this arsenic molybdenum complex, the structure of MOF was degraded. Due to degradation of structure of MOF, these peaks started going down. As we increase the concentration of arsenic, the structure of MOF was degraded, and with increasing concentration of arsenic, more structure of MOF was degraded, and there is a more dip into this peak. So we further characterize the treated MOF, arsenic treated MOF with TEM to check whether there is degradation or not. Then we found, yes, there is degradation and there is formation of debris around the MOF, which can be suspected for the decrease in the peak of UV visible spectra of this MOF. As you see, this is 1 ppm MOF, the degradation is less. In the B image, in presence of 10 ppm arsenic, the degradation is more, while in case of 100 ppm of arsenic, the degradation is very high. Likewise, if we increase this to 1000 ppm, there is a very high degradation of MOF, and we can check or characterize this degradation with the help of UV visible spectroscopy and knowing the color of MOF, measuring the color of MOF from purple to blue. So, as I told you earlier, that we also tested molybdenum-based MOF without presence of cobalt. So, if you see in A, this is cobalt and molybdenum MOF. The absorbance of this MOF was decreased from 1 to 0.2 after addition of 100 ppm of arsenic. Whereas in case of B, there is no cobalt in this MOF. The after addition of 100 ppm of arsenic, the absorbance of this MOF was decreased from 1 to 0.7. So that's why we opted this cobalt molybdenum MOF for our studies, and we built this sensor for the arsenic determination. So this is summary of this work. we have developed ultimately we have developed sensitive, selective, and specific sensor for arsenic, and the main signals of this sensor was due to interaction of arsenic with molybdenum, and cobalt is mainly helpful in generating high sensitive signals. This is ratio of cobalt and molybdenum 1:2, and these are the LODs. I think I am running out of time, so this is last slide. We already discussed all these in earlier slides. So this work was also recognized by RSTV, Rajya Sabha TV, PIB India, and Department of Science. They interviewed us, RSTV interviewed us for this work, and it was further popularized by PIB and DST India. So last slide, acknowledgement slide. I am very thankful to DST India, Sir, Executive Director Nabi Mohali, my collaborators, Professor Ki-Hun Kim, Dr. Suresh Kumar from Punjab University, my group members. Without them, this work is not possible. I highly appreciate their hard work. Mr. Kalyan Vaid, my PhD student, Ms. Jasmine Kaur, she is working as a project fellow in my DS Inspire project, and Ms. Ankita Negi, she's also a project fellow in my DS Inspire project. So thank you so much. You can visit Google Scholar account and ResearchGate account to know my publications. And I especially thank you to I'm especially thankful to Dr. Suresh who personally invited me to present my work here at this platform. Thank you so much for all the organizing committee and the college who organized this conference. Now the stage is open for questions. If anyone has some question, please ask freely.
Thank you, Dr. Manish.
Thank you so much,
You
ma'am.
have explained very well, and it is a very known figure. The arsenic element or the ions which are present in the food or in a water, they are harmful for human being. So you have established or you are using the different methods, conventional method as well as the advanced method
Yes, ma'am.
for sensing the arsenic element in water and the other samples, food samples, and they may be cause different disease in human being. It is a very interesting work, and now the session is open for questioning. If anybody wants to ask any question, 1 or 2 questions are allowed. If
Yeah, maybe I have one
anybody,
question.
yes, you can ask.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Manish, for a wonderful talk. So I just want to ask, how good is your material in comparison to other MO-based materials? And second is, you said that it degrades after arsenic exposure. So do you want to comment something about the reusability and recyclability of the material?
So there is no reusability for this material. If you want to reuse this material, you have to extract molybdenum from the used solution and use it again. But it will not work because in purified form or metal salt form, it directly link with the linkers. So it is not usable at all. We have to like discard the sensor after use, sensor strip or material after use. And your first question was how good this MOF is. Yes, we tested some other MOFs also, but as I as I showed in earlier that there is specific interaction between molybdenum and arsenic. So we have to choose an MOF which is having molybdenum into it, and there is a limited choice of molybdenum-based MOFs which can be designed for this sensor. So that's why after testing a chain of MOFs, we finally decided to go with the molybdenum cobalt mixed metal MOF for the development of our sensor.
Okay.
May I ask one question? May I?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Dr.
Sure, ma'am.
Manish, yes, your work is really, it is very interesting. And especially for inorganic chemist and the environmental scientist, you have synthesized or you have used the methods, conventional method as well as advanced method for sensing the arsenic. In one, you have used the molybdenum based metal organic frameworks. And another, you are saying the molybdenum cobalt organic based framework. And out of these two, which one is giving the better results?
Yeah, cobalt and molybdenum based mixed MOF, mixed molybdenum MOF was giving better results. So we explored the reason behind this. First, we explored that there may be some catalytic properties of cobalt that triggered the reaction between molybdenum and arsenic. Second, we concluded that maybe due to addition of cobalt in this framework, the framework is not so strong as in comparison with the molybdenum single molybdenum based MOF. So molybdenum cobalt mixed metal MOF was better.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. It is right. Now, one more thing, may I ask? You are saying when the molybdenum organic based, they are sensing to the arsenic and changing the color. So that color due to the charge transfer or it is due to the arsenic?
Yes, there may
Can
be some.
you clarify it?
Yes, color in
Changing
case of purple to blue.
from which color? It is changing to purple color.
Purple to blue. The purple color was due to MOF. The MOF we synthesized are of purple color.
Yes, that is due to the molybdenum.
Yes, molybdenum or cobalt. The electron transfer from charge transfer from metal to ligand. That may be the reason. But in case of blue color,
Yes, it may be charge transfer.
Yes. Blue color was due to formation of molybdenum arsenic complex. The heteropolyc complex formed due to interaction of molybdenum arsenic. That is of blue color. That blue color was not of MOF. It was from molybdenum arsenic complex.
Double.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody? Thank you. Very nice lecture. Really, it is very interesting. It is very useful for the scientist. Anybody can go ahead in this direction, and best wishes, Dr. Manish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Deepa.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kiran. Thank you so much for your precious time.
Okay,
it
madam,
was a
thank
privilege
you.
to have you with us. And thank you,
thank
Dr.
you, madam.
Manish. Thank you, Dr. Manish. It was such a nice talk, and it's really nice to see our young scientists doing so well. You are doing a good work, and my best wishes to you. May you rise higher and higher. And next, because we are already running behind the schedule, I'll take on to the next talk. Yes, thank you so much. The next talk will be by Dr. Vijay Gupta from Warsaw University, Poland. And the chairperson for this talk will be Dr. Sunil Dhul. Dr. Sunil Dhul is amongst us. Let me introduce you to the chair. Dr. Sunil Kumar is the assistant professor in Department of Chemistry in J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA, Faridabad. He has done his PhD from Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra only, and he has vast teaching experience since August 13. He joined in NILM University, Cathal. Then from August 15 to May 31, 16, he was in SLIT Longowal, Sangrur, Punjab. Then August 5 to 2019 to March 31, 2021, he was in Maharaja Agrasen University, Himachal Pradesh. And since April 2021, since then, he is in the J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA, Faridabad. He has postdoctoral research experience. He has been postdoc fellow in the Department of Chemistry, Punjab University. He has been postdoc fellow in the Department of Applied Chemistry, National Chiao Tung University, Taiwan. And he has industrial research experience to his credit also. And he has been awarded many fellowships like CSIR Net in Chemical Sciences. He has been a project fellow in the UGC project. He has been a senior research fellow in a CSIR project. NCCC certificate holder. He is an all-rounder, you can see. and he was a postdoc fellow in MOST Taiwan. He has been National Postdoc Fellow in DST Sub India, and he has actually had to his credit the Best Poster Award awarded by Royal Society of Chemistry in a conference. He has been member of various societies like Indian Science Congress Association and Chandigarh Region Innovation and Knowledge Cluster, Chandigarh. So I welcome you, sir. We are really enlightened. We are really happy to have you with us to chair over this talk by Dr. Vijay Gupta from Warsaw University, Poland. Over to you, please, Dr. Sunil.
Thank you, Deepan. Thank you very much for so much elaboration of my CV. Thank you very much. So, good afternoon to all and one present on the online platform of this international conference. Ma'am, is I audible clearly?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So, I thanks to the organizer for giving me this opportunity. Our next speaker is Dr. Vijay Gupta. In academic achievements, after obtaining master degree in chemistry from Kurukshetra University in 2011, Dr. Vijay completed his PhD from the Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Mohali in 2019. His topic of research work was coordination-driven multi-component self-assembly of discrete and polymeric coordination architectures and their application in catalysis, carbon dioxide capturing, and fixation and sensing. He has published his research work in Research Journal of International Repute like Dalton Transaction, Inorganic Chemistry, Chemistry European Journal, etc. He has presented his work in various national and international conferences. He also has teaching experience of various institutes. Since January 2020 to present now, he is working as a postdoctoral research associate in Warsaw, Poland, in Institute of Physical Chemistry of Polish Academy of Sciences. His area of expertise are synthesis and characterization of metal organic framework and coke and their applications, inorganic organic hybrid nanoporous materials, organometallic catalyst for epoxide and carbon dioxide ring opening copolymerization, etc. So on the behalf of this international conference, I welcome you, Dr. Vijay Gupta. So kindly proceed and present your work. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil, for the introduction. And I am very thankful for the organizing committee to give me a chance to present my work here. So without wasting any time, because I see we are already running out of time, I will start sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is visible, Doctor.
Okay. So I will be presenting this multi-component self-assemblies, their design perspectives and applications. So here from the self-assemblies, I mean to say either completely inorganic assemblies, hybrid assemblies, or organic assemblies. Like we all know about zeolites. These are totally inorganic materials. And I'm very thankful for our previous speaker, Dr. Manish, who has already made a platform for me to talk about this hybrid materials, that is metal organic frameworks. And the next thing is this purely organic frameworks that is called covalent organic frameworks. So these are all kind of self-assemblies based on the different building blocks, either inorganic building blocks or mixed building blocks. So before starting, I would like to thank all the people who are associated with this work and who helped me to present my work at this time on this platform. So I would like to thank Aisar Mohali and my PhD supervisor, Professor Sanjay Mandal, and Warsaw University of Technology, who give me a chance to continue my research work as a postdoctoral research associate, and the kind supervision of Professor Janusz Lewinsky, who give me a chance to do whatever I want to do in the lab. Yeah. So I will start with the metal organic framework, since Dr. Manish has already talked about this. So as he talk that metallogenic frameworks are kind of porous frameworks composed of basic two subunits. One is you can see here, this is an inorganic subunit, and the other one is organic subunit. And this one is a well-known zinc for mu oxobenzoate cluster. So how we synthesize this metal organic frameworks? If you see this benzoate, and it is a monofunctional ligand, kind of, it has only one functionality, it has only one binding site, that is carboxylate. So if we can replace this monofunctional unit with at least a bifunctional unit, or you can say this bidentate ligand, it can form a continuous structure like this. We can replace this benzoate with terephthalic acid, and it ends up with this kind of a continuous network having pores inside the framework. Or in a more simple way, I can say we all know about this cisplatin and transplatin, and I can schematically we can represent like this, and this yellow thing shows these are the corner ligands. Corner ligands, I mean to say this amine. If we can replace this corner ligands with at least a bifunctional ligand, like instead of amine we can have diamine, so we can end up with this kind of continuous structure or a polymeric structure. So depending upon this available directionality of the metal, we can end up with 2D or 3D structures. So this is the basic idea about the or what we want to work. So what we can do, we can either play with this inorganic subunit, or we can play with this organic subunit. And most of the people, they play with this organic subunit. So here you can
excuse me Vijay.
Yes,
Dr. Vijay.
Yes, sir.
स्लाइड चेंज नहीं हो रही है आपकी, आप ना नेक्स्ट उसमें करो, एस्केप मोड दबा दो, या तो अगर आपने पुल किया हुआ है तो
it was
yes, now it is moving, I think.
Okay, is it visible?
Not till now, but
not visible, sir.
Is it visible now? Maybe I can stop sharing and share it again.
Sir.
yes, that will be better.
Is it visible?
Vijay, it is visible, but slide is not appearing on this my side. Can anyone reply if it is visible toward another?
No, it is same. Left side is visible, but the center is like white.
Yeah,
white
I also can't see at the center.
You can close your presentation and open it again. I think it will work.
Maybe. Let me stop the sharing for a while. Is it okay now?
Yes, now it is visible. I'll try to change the slide. Yes, now it is moving. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So once we have the kind of knowledge how we can play with these building blocks, as I told that most of the people are playing with this organic building block. So here we can see you can change these building blocks to have the desired pore size. So this yellow balls, you can see there is small, bigger, and bigger. So you can, changing this organic subunit, you can have the desired pore size. So I will tell you about this pore size and how we can use these pores. So these are the basic two strategies for any structure modification into these self-assemblies. as I told, this inorganic building block, or we can say it acceptor modification, and the other thing is organic building block, or sorry, it has to be donor modification. I'm sorry for this mistake. So keeping in mind these two strategies, what we do, we made some new organic ligands. So here you can see we made from bidentate to tridentate to tetradentate ligands. And okay, so before somebody stop me and ask me what would I mean by multi-component self-assemblies, because till now I had talked about two components only. So here you can see this red indicates this organic building block and green color indicates the inorganic building block. And in addition, we have introduced the another part that is also organic building block, but why we call it third ligand, because it is different from this carboxylate. These are anionic ligands and these are neutral ligands. And why we introduce these ligands, I will show you in the coming slides. So here we can see we have changed from two component to three components system. So that makes it a multi-component self-assemblies. And I will show you the one of the example of our work. So it will be more clear what we are doing and what we have done. So here is an example. This is the multi-component self-assembly of molecular squares. Till now, the strategies to make this kind of molecular squares is using very predefined building blocks. So this is a metal complex which is very predefined. It has two openings only at 90 degrees to each other. So it is kind of very systematic approach to make this kind of molecular squares, because we have only two openings at 90 degrees. In another case also we have openings at 90 degrees which forms a molecular square. But what we have done, we have used multi-component self-assemblies without using any predefined building blocks. So we use only this simple metal salt, a capping ligand, and carboxylate ligand to make this kind of squares. So, and this is not just kind of a hit and trial method. We have isolated this intermediate to show that we actually have two openings to make this kind of molecular squares. So for all these cases, we have isolated this building blocks. Here is the structure of this, and we have made this kind of molecular squares one. And till now, we have only succeeded in making two molecular squares with two. It doesn't mean we have only two. We have with different metal ions, but the structure is similar in all cases. In this case, we have around 10 examples. The structure is same, and in this case, we have two examples, and you can find these papers here. And one is crystal engineering communication, and one is Dalton transition. So I think the idea of our work is clear to all of you now. So I will proceed to next examples. So using these three component self-assemblies, what we have obtained, we have isolated a lot of supramolecular architectures ranging from 1D to 2D to three-dimensional architectures. And based on this third ligand, this is third component, we can introduce additional functionality into the framework. So this is the, or you can say it is a simple framework. And other one, here we introduce this basic functionalities which helps in the catalysis this, and we can introduce additional flexibility which results into a chiral framework. And there are very limited examples where we can get this chiral framework without using any chiral components. This is not chiral, our carboxylate is not chiral, metal is not chiral, but the resulting architecture is chiral. So this we published in inorganic chemistry. And the third one, we add some fluorophore, and this is manuscript in somebody's. Since I left my PhD lab, so people are working for this application. And but so this is what we have done, and my work was mainly focused on the CO2 adsorption. I was kind of asked to work primarily on the CO2 absorption. So for that, I have once we found the literature, and there we found the different strategy how we can uh, enhance the CO2 absorption into this framework. So this is what I was talking about, these yellow balls in the, I think, second slides. That is the pores, and we have to use those pores for CO2 absorption. And but we have to design these pores in such a way that only CO2 can entrap into that pores, not the other gases. Because if every gas entraps, there is no meaning of using this material for specific or selective CO2 absorption. So we have to design in the materials in such a way that we get selective CO2 absorption. And so for that, we keep in mind some characteristics of these gas molecules, and I will show you with examples how we enhance this CO2 absorption into the frameworks. So this is one of the structures you can see. Uh, this blue line, blue, you can see this is basically a this bipyridine ligand. And why we have used this? If we use only carboxylate, we get this pore. This yellow ball is a pore. And why we use this third component? We basically do this pore partitioning. And we know that size of CO2 is comparatively smaller than nitrogen and other gases. So there is a very less chance that other gas molecules can entrap or enter into these pores. And there is a possibility that only CO2 can entrap, or CO2 can pass, or CO2 can absorb into these small pores. And next thing we have to keep in mind that while we are using these materials for CO2 absorption, it has to be stable at high temperature and in aqueous or kind of moist conditions. So we check the stability of these materials, which is stable up to 350 degrees Celsius, and it is stable in water, even in boiling water, for 2 days. And here you can see this absorption data at 298 and 273, because we have to deal when we are talking about the CO2 absorption, we have to deal at higher temperatures. So people do at absorption at low temperature, but now whenever you publish a paper for CO2 absorption, reviewers will definitely ask you what is the absorption profile at higher temperatures. And we can see at both temperature lower and 298, this nitrogen and methane absorption is comparatively very low than CO2. And we calculated these selectivity numbers because we don't have the facilities to do a mixed gas absorption, to conduct a mixed gas absorption. So we do some computational analysis to find out what will be the selectivity when we use the mixed gas mixture. So this is all computation, not real data. We have not used any binary gas or a mixed gas mixture. We have used this binary absorption data to simulate these selectivity numbers, and we find this CO2 selectivity is very good compared to the other materials. It is not very high, but it is comparable to other MF materials. So this is one of the strategies that is called pore space partitioning, using this third component. And going to the next example, uh, this is the one strategy we can either uh, uh, we can cut down the pore size. Second is this, we can introduce heteroatoms into the framework. So what is the use of this heteroatom? Uh, CO2 is acidic in nature, and these heteroatoms can interact with the CO2 molecules. So in the third component, that what I was talking about, this neutral ligands, we have introduced this heterooxygen heteroatoms, which helps in the CO2 interaction. And other thing is coordination site shifting. That is basically, if we change this coordination sites, here this is a 4-pyridyl now, and this is somewhere there. This is 3-pyridyl. This is there is some problem. It should be 3-pyridyl. So if we change this coordination site or coordination, if we shift this coordination site, that will obviously result in some different architecture. So here you can see, using the same carboxylate, same metal, just changing the coordination site, we have two different frameworks, and you can see this absorption profile of both the frameworks. In this one, CO2 is much higher at different temperatures, but in the other one, CO2 absorption is comparatively lower. And it happened in the other case also. So this is another strategy how we can enhance how we can enhance the CO2 selectivity in the framework. Yeah. And next example, when we had a lot of examples where we can selectively capture the CO2 molecule. So next task for us was this: how we can use this adsorbed CO2 molecule, because yeah, we can adsorb the CO2 molecule, but there is no use of that material, though this CO2. So we thought of using this CO2 to make some value-added chemicals. So for that, we need some catalytic site uh, which can activate these CO2 molecules, and we can have some valuable materials. So for that, we 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 incorporated some unsaturated metal sites into the framework. So this unsaturated metal site also, it will help in this CO2 interaction, as well as it will help in CO2 activation also. So, this should be later, because in the this mode I am not able to use this animation. So I can maybe move it. So here we can see we have used different metals, same ligand, same carboxylate, same neutral ligand, and we have isoreticular structures. Isoreticular structures, we have similar structures, and if we see this CO2 profile, the CO2 adsorption is also very kind of similar. There is not much difference. But when we talk about this selectivity where this where we have unsaturated metal site, selectivity numbers are much higher. Here it is 80 and it is 125, and for methane it is 7.5, it is 50. So what do I mean from the selectivity? It is CO2 and nitrogen selectivity, this first one, and this is CO2 and methane selectivity. So if we have a binary, if we have a mixture of CO2 and methane, what will be the selectivity for CO2? So this number indicates this selectivity for CO2 in mixture of gases. And the other thing, how this unsaturated metal site helps in this CO2 activation or small molecule activation and CO2 utilization. So we use this strained molecules to interact with this CO2 molecule. So basically, we use this epoxides, and this unsaturated metal site helps in this epoxide activation, and this CO2, this adsorbs CO2 into the framework. It uh, it adds up into this molecule, making this cyclic carbonates, which are industrially useful molecules, which is made from this waste CO2 molecules. And the another strategy is, again, we have further functionalized our ligands with triazole functionality, because this is also known to interact with the CO2 molecule, and it will definitely helps us to enhance the CO2 adsorption and selectivity. And we can see from this slide, and we did some, obviously we have some very high selectivity and very high CO2 adsorption values. But in this case, we did some simulation studies also to show where this CO2 is resides into the framework. So here we can see this CO2 interacts with these triazole units, and the active metal side, that is unsaturated metal side, helps in this epoxide activation. So this is the kind of this small molecule epoxide. And
Dr. Vijay Gupta.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Sir, I have some important information for the participants. Our parallel sessions for the presentations also has been made operational for them. So it's my kind request to the participants who have their oral presentations or poster presentation for this schedule of today. So they should leave from here and must join there, as our other resource person are waiting for them, and others will not leave this meeting.
Okay, maybe I have 2 more slides and I can finish for the next speaker.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. So Yeah, so I directly comes from the comes to the other part, that is functionalization of inorganic subunit. So till now I have talked about the functionalization of organic building block, and now in my postdoctoral studies I have started to functionalize the inorganic subunit. And I think Dr. Manish mentioned for this molybdenum cobalt framework, the composition was not kind of exact composition. They have done some studies to find out a rough composition, what is the composition of molybdenum and cobalt into the framework. And there is no method we can synthesize these materials where we can have a definite composition, because there are only 4 strategies to make this mixed metal move or heterometallic moves. Either you use 2 metals, but there is no possibility that whatever starting ratio you use, that will go into the end product. So what we try to do here, we try to make some heterometallic building blocks. Uh, Instead of this, as I showed you, zinc 4 oxo cluster, zinc 4 oxo benzoate cluster, we synthesize some zinc 3 MO oxo clusters, zinc 2 M2 oxo clusters, and this kind of clusters. And using our smart strategy, kind of using this pre-synthesized building blocks and changing them to kind of replacing this benzoate with bifunctional ligand, we can use this pre-synthesized or pre-synthesized heterometallic building blocks to make heterometallic move, where this percentage composition of the metals is same whatever we start or whatever we choose in the starting materials. And why we want to do this work, because if we see this literature, there are a lot of examples with metal organic framework which are increasing every year, but when we see heterometallic move, there is negligible examples. So what is the strategy? We use this, we change this metal oxo clusters to mixed metal oxo clusters, and using our this smart strategy, we mix them with functionalized organic ligands to make this mixed metal organic frameworks. And while using this, we had some examples where we have synthesized this kind of mixed metal clusters, and these are not only useful for this making hydrometallic moves only. These have their own applications. These kind of materials are very well known for as an organometallic catalyst for ring opening polymerization. So we have used this material for ring opening polymerization. So here we can see with time this polymer, we can see this polymer by NMR studies. And we have also isolated this cyclohexane oxide adduct, which is the, I think, first example where we have shown this intermediate example, or we can isolate this intermediate in this ring opening polymerization reaction. And so these are more examples we are studying for other applications, and we have compared this kind of building blocks. So this is a known move which has the similar building block, and we have compared this building block with our building block, and we find that it has very similar structures, and we can use our smart strategy to make this kind of framework, which is mixed metal frameworks. So maybe I'm done, and I will like to thank all of you for your kind attention. And I would be happy to answer any question if you have.
And Dr. Vijay, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation on the multi-component self-assemblies, and congratulate you for the same. And I'm happy to see you after a long, on this online platform after a long time, as I remember last time we met in 2018 in ISER Mohali.
Yes.
So thank you very much for the presentation. Now I would like to invite audience for the questions. So please ask Dr. Gupta 1-2 questions. Is there anyone who want to who have any query? Yes, Vinit Kumarji.
No, I don't have.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Dr. Vijay. Thank you very much for your presence and your time and wonderful elaboration of the research. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Deepa
Sunil,
ma'am.
for chairing over the talk.
So,
Yes.
so I would like to thank the organizers and for giving this wonderful opportunity, especially Dr. Gulab, Deepa ma'am, Dr. Suresh, and all other who are involved in this process, and congratulate to the organizer for this wonderful conference. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Vijay, for the nice presentation. And with this technical session 2 comes to its end. And because the parallel sessions for oral presentations and for poster presentations have started at different platforms, you are all requested to join your concerned platforms, please. And I would request Gulab sir and Suresh sir to kindly share the feedback form that was committed to be shared at the end of the technical session 2. Gulab sir, Suresh sir, are you available? Dr. Gulab, Dr. Suresh, are you available? Any one of you? Okay, in case it is not shared here, it will be shared during the oral presentation session and the poster presentation session. Gulab sir, are you available?
No, ma'am, he is not available. But it will be shared in groups, in WhatsApp groups and other groups that has been made for this conference.
Okay. So you can fill up the feedback form and make it sure that you fill up that feedback form, because those feedback forms will be used for the attendance of the participants, please. And with this, I would like to thank all of you present here with us on this online platform. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time. Without your presence, this conference couldn't be successful. And I thank all the eminent speakers for sharing their pool of knowledge with us. And I'm sure that the talks must have incited many new ideas in the minds of the researchers that have joined, and that will lead to new research paradigms in chemical research. With this, I'll wind up the technical session 2 here, and you may all join the concerned oral presentation and poster presentation sessions, please. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.